Podcast power. Y'all make sure to go over there and check out Real Talk on musicloveawards.com and vote for their podcast to be #1 podcast. Make sure y'all go help them win that award. Let's go. musicloveawards.com. Make sure you vote for Real Talk podcast. Okay? Y'all heard me. All right, let's get it.
Hello, I'm Author Nikki Nicole from the Breaking the Silence podcast, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about one of my favorite podcasts out there, Real Talk Monday. It airs at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and so many more platforms. If you're looking for a real conversation from a godly perspective, with a little twist to it to get you to thinking, tune in on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
What is up, everyone? It's another day, another time, and another week for Real Talk Monday. I got my girl, Miss Tevis, up in the building with me. How you doing, sis?
I am good. How are you?
I am well. We have two amazing guests up in the building with us tonight, discussing a very important subject, especially with what we're going through right now in America. We're discussing a very important subject tonight. One of them we've had on Real Talk Monday before. She is a returning member, Miss Jessie, and we're just going to go on. I'm going to turn it over to Tevis to let her introduce both of the guests. Then we're going to play a 30-second interlude. And while that interlude is playing, I want you to share, I want you to like, and I want you to tag and tell somebody and tell everybody. Your favorite Monday night show is on. Tevis, it's on you.
Hey, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Today, our topic is titled White Mothers Raising Black Sons. Of course, we know that this can go 1,000 different ways. One thing that I want you guys to know is I know these two women well. One is actually my three nephews' mom, and the other one is a good friend I met when I first moved to Nashville. So I felt comfortable speaking with these ladies because I trust what they're saying and that they won't be offended by any of the questions, which of course I didn't create the questions to offend, but we know how that can be. So anyway, Jessie is the mother of a 16-year-old daughter who is biracial and a 6 or 7-year-old son. She'll clarify that soon. And Stephanie has 3 boys ranging from 18, I do believe, or soon to be 18, 21, I think, and 20. How long have I been out of high school? I mean, what is this? 25. He'll be 24 this year. Not high school, college. So those are my 3 nephews. So anyway, tune in, get ready to hear some questions that we probably all would like to ask mothers that are not Black moms, just to kind of see their view, their perspective, and just life, raising Black sons. So thank you for being here. Let's get started.
All right, y'all, we're going to play a 30-second interlude, and we're going to go on in. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. What is up, everyone? How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Good. How's everybody else?
We are
Doing
good. We are
good.
good. We are glad to have both of you ladies on. Jesse, we've had you on before on We'll Talk Monday, so it's an honor to have you back.
Thank
But
you
we
for
are going to
having
give
me.
both of y'all an opportunity to introduce yourself a little bit.
For sure. And whichever one wants to go first, just tell who you are, what you do. Tell you can tell where you're from, tell the ages of your children, since that's going to be one of the topic of the discussion, and just whatever you want to feel. If you got a business, you can share what your business is, but just whatever you want to share.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, I will. My name's Stephanie, and I'm actually from Bowling Green too. And like Teva said, I have her nephews. They are 23, 21, and 18. During the week, I run a dental office, and then on the weekend, I actually have a juice business.
All right. Jesse, it's on you.
Yeah, so my name is Jessie. I'm originally from Michigan, but I've also lived in North Carolina and Atlanta. I have 2 kids, 16-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy, and I'm in the digital marketing world.
Nice.
Amen. All right. So, Tevis, I'll let you kick us off with the questions tonight.
Okay, so let me find my glasses, y'all. So, we oftentimes hear the term systemic racism. And we pretty much are living in the South, close enough to the South, which is absolutely beautiful, but we definitely know that it's steeped in a lot of history as far as slavery, Jim Crow laws, the presence of like mass incarceration, racial sterilization, extreme racial wealth inequity, and like dramatic educational disparities, right? So I wanted to have this conversation because, here we are, two Christians, Bible, close to the Bible Belt, and we deal with so many things that can blur the line from racism, from your spiritual belief, from politics, and then we have this widespread common denominator with people from north, east, south, and west when it comes to police brutality, right? And the world is not just black and white, like it used to be. It is such a melting pot. And, we talk about our fear of raising children, whether male or female, and definitely our sons, and what that looks like, right? So I'm going to dive into these questions. And the first one, and whoever wants to go first can go first, is has fear shaped your experience as a mother to Black boys?
Absolutely. I actually just said that today after learning about that video that I showed you guys. For context, there's been KKK members, white supremacists, whatever you want to call them, in downtown Nashville. But this time they were verbally attacking children. And I literally thought to myself, this is terrifying that it's happening in 2024 or at all. The fact that it's right up the street from here. And I worry about both my kids, but especially my son. And he's only 6. And right now he doesn't look like a threat to people. But when he gets, your kid's age, he's going to be viewed as a threat. And it's terrifying. And what's even more terrifying is the direction this country can really take in the months ahead.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
So for me, of course, I remember whenever I had Kobe almost 24 years ago, literally they were downtown Bowling Green.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, when I was growing up, people were people. My parents never it was never about black or white or this or that. People were just people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You know, like they're literally down the street. The hospital is down the street from downtown. And, you know, growing up, I honestly, we really didn't think about it because they were little. You know, we were always with them.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they're grown and out on their own and driving, literally, it's scary every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time I hear something, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Texting my kids, where are you all? You know, to make sure it's not them.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, you know, it's sad that you have to live that way, but we have to. Because I know when people, they have long hair. Well, 2 of them do. You know, long hair. They've always got hoodies on, you know, this or that. And it's very terrifying and very scary. So it's, you know, it's daily, it's a constant reminder and a prayer that, you know, your worst fear never happens because of what they look like.
Right, right. That's true. That's true. James, we can't hear you.
My bad. I had put myself on mute. Even though I don't have kids, I can speak from a black man's perspective. Even with me growing up, I knew that racism existed. Definitely knew it existed. I didn't really experience it until I was fully grown, and I was at my job working, and went to Walmart to grab a Powerade and a belt. Left Walmart, the little alarm thing, metal detector went off on me. The woman that was there tells me to empty out my pockets and empty out everything that I had with me. Cool, I ain't got no problem with that because I ain't steal anything. Here you go. She checks it, she runs through it with it, everything was fine. I walk through it again, it goes off again, she waves me off. I get all the way back up there to my job. I see one of Glasgow Police Department's officers come into my job. Now, at that time, I worked at a shoe store. So I'm thinking, okay, he's probably just coming in here to buy some shoes. Randomly, the police officer comes up there to me and asks me, was I just in Walmart? Yes, sir, I was. I need you to step outside with all of your belongings. Now, remind you, this is fresh off of the Trayvon Martin situation. So I immediately go outside, but before I go outside, I make sure I grab my receipt out of the trash can so that you can clearly see I purchased everything that I have. When he first checked me, he was treating me like I was a typical black man that did something wrong. He runs my record. He notices. He don't have no prior offenses. His whole conversation and his whole demeanor changed at that moment. Then goes on to tell me, I didn't even come in there for you. I came into Walmart for somebody else. And one of the police officers, the security guard, told me to go over there, come over here for you. I'm sitting outside with him for probably 10 minutes. Up comes another police officer from Glasgow Police Department. At this moment, I'm thinking in the back of my head, well, I'm about to go to jail. 2 police officers. That's it for me. The 2 security guards from Walmart come running on my job's property, hollering and yelling, get him, get him. He was trying to steal from my store.
What?
Thank God. The second officer looks at me. He asked the first officer, have you frisked him yet? The officer goes, no, I didn't frisk him. He said, I got to do everything around here. Put your hands on the car. Now, remind you, I have my work uniform on. I'm the only black that worked at that shoe department store at that time. Now, you got people coming in and out of that store. They don't know that I'm getting stopped for nothing. All they see is a black man with his hands on top of a police car. Immediately, they run everything. See, I don't have nothing on me, of course. Fast forward, police officer asks, fast forward, finally, get a text from a good friend of mine asking me what was the two security guards doing on my job's property because he worked at Walmart. Tell me what was going on, and she said they ain't even supposed to leave Walmart's property. Why did they come on your job's property? I said I need a favor from you, sis. I said I need the name of both of those security guards. I said, and I need the name of that door greeter. Without hesitation, before the day was over, I had all three names. Went back to Walmart that next, about a week later. Went back to Walmart, was talking to the manager. At this point, Walmart didn't realize they done messed up. They asking me, what can we do to make this situation go away? I said, those two security guards that was over here, that ran on my job's property, they don't have a job anymore. That door greeter doesn't have a job anymore. I said, RB train them better. I said, or option number 3, I can call my attorney.
That's crazy.
And needless to say, they went with option number 1. But it's sad that, and at that moment, that's when I realized, okay, it don't matter what I do, it don't matter how I dress, because
Who
some
you
of
are.
them do nothing but a typical.
Nope, that's a fact. That's a fact. Thank you
Do
for
you remember
sharing.
the time Keelan got pulled over?
Say it again.
You remember the time Keelan got pulled over, him and his white friend? And Keelan was the only one that had to get out of the car. And it's sad that I have to tell my kids. I literally have always told them this. Listen, I just need you to get through whatever you need to get through to get downtown if that's what they do to you, so that I can get there. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And was he driving too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one driving.
Yeah. 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 So I think you guys, and James, I'll let you ask the next question, but this one I think you all have pretty much answered, which was, are you all afraid for your son's life? It sounds like, yeah, every day, it's a struggle, it's a battle, it's a worry, it's a concern. Needless to say, there's just so much going on, and who can you trust? We always say, police are here to protect, they're here to save, they're here, but our experiences have been different, right? Our son's experiences have been different. So we definitely have to be mindful of that. But James, you can go ahead and ask the third question.
All right, next question is, okay, third question for you all is, how have or did you prepare your children for the world that we live in now?
So, like, what are some of the things that Stephanie, you remember teaching at an early age, and things that you say to your son now, if anything, Jesse?
It's crazy because when they were little, it wasn't like it is now, or we didn't see it.
Right.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know which way it goes. Because again, in both of our houses, people were people. We didn't differentiate. You were brown, or you were this, or you were that. We were just Grandma, Papa, whoever, whatever. And it was when they got older, and we kind of went through the episode with the school. At that point, and my kids were in high school. Cash was in middle school, I think, whenever all that happened. And it literally was at that point. I remember Keelan looking at me and saying, "What do you mean it was because I was brown?" And I'm like, "Honey, listen, because for so long, it never was, it wasn't an issue. We didn't point out those things. People were just people." And then the Trayvon Martin, and then, everything else. And it was like it amped up after that, for whatever reason. And at that point, I had to say, "Listen, I need you all to listen. I know your first instinct is to retaliate or say what you feel like needs to be heard. I just need you to come out alive." And I never dreamed that I would have to do that, because my kids know right from wrong. Are they perfect? No. But you know, at the same time, just because of how they look, you know, I mean, people just automatically assume, and it's heartbreaking. And I remember just telling them, you know, just keep being you. It doesn't matter what the world thinks about you. You go be whatever you want to be, you know, but be mindful and pay attention, because there are still those people.
Yeah, I would say for me, I mean, my son is only 6 right now, but he definitely, you know, he's definitely aware that, he's definitely aware of things that, you know, that to kind of be suspicious or a little leery around cops for the fact of his skin color. And I remember just like 2 years ago, he was on this whole cop phase. He wanted to be a police officer, and he dressed up for Halloween one year. And the other day we were driving, and he had said that he was afraid of the police. And, you know, it just broke my heart, because I know that other white kids, you know, they don't have to have that transition to the innocence of, this is a profession I want to have. I look up to cops, to then realizing, you know, that they are at risk because of their skin color.
Do you feel like that sometimes as African Americans, it's harder on us to trust the police because of everything that we are seeing on TV and everything that we are seeing? Because a lot of times as we've already said, we are taught that the police are to protect and serve, but in us, a lot of times it's ask questions later, shoot first.
Well, even with Ava, you know, getting ready to get her car and driving, you know, something that I've always told her is, if they pull you over, your hands go immediately on the steering wheel, period, right? Remember that. Whatever they ask, no matter how smart they may be, just answer the question, give them what they want, let them go do what they need to do. Because any amount of sassiness or smartness or whatever, that's just giving them power, right? To act a fool, as they would say, because they waiting for us women, you know, angry black woman type situation, to get crazy, you know. And I remember one time I had gotten pulled over, and she was in the car with me, and I was just like, just record it. But she got so nervous, you know, immediately nervous, just couldn't even function. But that was a teachable moment for me, for her, because I'm like, that you can't do. You can't. Grant, she was probably 11 years old or 12 maybe, but you can't get nervous like that. You have to stay focused. You have to be in tune with what they're saying, what's around you, because anything can happen at any given moment, you know. And I mean, I remember, you know, talking to the boys when they were little, just, you know, because it was, and Jesse, I don't know if your kids went through this, but I know my nephews did go through a phase that they really, you know, I would say to them, no matter what you think, you're a black boy. I don't care what color your mama is. When the police see you, when other white people see you, they don't see necessarily a white kid or necessarily a biracial kid. They see a black kid because your skin is brown, right? And I said, and then back in the day, you know, you had to go with whatever the father was, right? Or back in the day, they did the whole paper sack, the brown bag test, you know, and I'm like explaining all of these things to them, but it was something they didn't really not want to accept, but because I think their minds were so innocent at a young age, why can't I just be both, right? You are. We know that you are, and we accept you for both. But the world, the society, they're going to see what's on the outside, and that's your skin color, right? So it was hard to kind of like help them understand that when they were younger. I think now as they are older, they get it. But as far as when they were younger, because all they was thinking is, it's almost like they were like, I don't want to deny my mom. right? But you're not. We're not. You know what I'm saying? But it's just what the world sees, you know? So the conversation is hard and it's uncomfortable sometimes because of the innocence of their mind. And they want everybody to just love everybody. And why does it matter if my skin is brown? Why does it matter if my mom's white? Why does it matter if my dad's black, right? But it's just that innocence. And that was something that they had to go through. And I feel like the middle boy kind of went through the identity thing more than the oldest and the youngest. And I'm not sure why. It was kind of through that middle school, early high school phase that I would see like a switch in him. It was almost like he was trying to figure out who he was, right? When we say, be you, be who you are, right? Whether you want to be the black cowboy, whether you want to have the cowboy boots on with the Jordans, be you. And everybody will accept that. You don't have to cater to one more than other. People will draw to you. Whoever you're supposed to be around will draw to you. And I do believe when he went to the military, he was able to see that more clearly, right? I think that he was able to embrace who he was, who he is. I think now he embraces it because he may have on Jordans with with cowboy boots. That's okay. I mean, Jordans with a cowboy hat. But that's okay. But I think it took maturity for him because it's almost like he was trying to figure out like who he was as a person, as a young man, you know, and then that all that stuff happened at the high school. And it's just kind of like his brain was probably all over the place, you know. But the other two, I personally didn't see it so much. I don't know if you did, Stephanie. What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you hit it exactly right. I feel like
Yeah.
he was the one that kind of went through the, okay, where do I belong? What do I do? Is it okay for me to be over here with all the white people? Is it okay for me to be over here with all the black people?
Right.
What do I do? You know, because he had friends obviously everywhere and attracted everyone.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think when he went to the military, it kind of set in to just be you. And you're right. He probably will have Jordans and a cowboy hat on, or he will have the most expensive boots and a cowboy hat on. I mean, you never can tell. But I do feel like he embraces it more.
Right.
Where the other two have just been like, okay, this is who we are.
Right.
We don't care. We'll
Right.
go whichever way we want to go.
Right. Jesse, what have you seen with your kids? Do they draw to one race more than the other? Can you tell, or is it?
Oh yeah, with my daughter, I can definitely tell. She just identifies as black. I mean, she knows she's, you know, mixed, obviously, but it was fun. We actually did the ancestry DNA test, and it turned out that she was like 54% white, and she was really upset that she was more white and she was black. but so she starts her new job tomorrow, and you know, when she was filling out like all the questions, it only allowed her to pick one race, and I was like, Janae, pick one, white or black. And she's like, black. And I was joking. I was like, okay, fine then. And she's like, no, Mom, look at me. Like when people see me, they don't see me as a white young lady. They see me as a black lady. And I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Kai, I mean, kind of the same. It's sad. He's experienced a lot of racism already at the age of 6. So he's well aware that he's very conscious of the fact that he's, you know, that he's black. And yeah, that's interesting. So this question we kind of already answered too. What do you say to your sons about getting pulled over by the police? What did that conversation look like? Have your sons ever expressed fear about being pulled over by the police officer, and have they been pulled over? So I know we didn't get in detail, and James, I was going to let you ask, but then, yeah, sorry about that. But yes, Stephanie, can you give examples? Like, have you had conversations? Of course, you said you've had conversations with them. Have they ever expressed
any type of fear to you towards getting pulled over? Tell me what that looked like, and have all three of them express that?
Yes, all three.
Okay.
And thankfully enough, before the police get to the window, they've already got me on the phone, and I'm like, just lay me in the seat. I'm like, it's fine, it's okay. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Just do what they said. I'll take care of the rest later. I just need you to get through this. And they are scared, and it's hard because we've always told them, the police are going to help you. If you're in a burning house, they're going to help you, or, if somebody's after you, they're going to help you. But now I'm telling them, you got to be careful of those people. And you almost, like, you hate to even say that, but at the same time, I need them to be aware because it's went wrong so many times that, like I always tell them, I understand, you want to say this, you want to say that, but those might be your last words. So I'm going to need you not to say that. Let me take care of it, because I assure you, when I get to that police station, it will be a different story, So, but they all three have been pulled over, and they're obviously scared if they're calling me, to say, hey, I'm getting pulled over, this or that, whatever. And all three of them obviously have had different experiences. Keelan's like blatant, he's got to get out of the car, but white friend can stay in the car. That's very obvious. I mean, come on now. And then for Cash, it was, he wasn't rude, but very sarcastic and almost like, what are you doing in this kind of car? Or, this or that. And like, very irrelevant. He said he was speeding. Or you said he ran a stop sign. That's what it was. And, there was only one stop sign. And, it just didn't make sense. Of course, Kobe doesn't say a whole lot anyways. But he was scared because he talked about it for days. So I know it scared him. But it's just, I just tell them and remind them, just do what they say. I know, it may not be right, but at the end of the day, I need you to get out of there alive.
Jessie, have you had these conversations with Janae?
I have, and she's actually been pulled over when she had her permit, and she immediately started freaking out. I was in the car with her. But yeah, we've had the talk of, because I'm sure, these teen girls have a mouth on them. And I was like, if you get pulled over, same thing. Hands, on the steering wheel. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. And do what you got to do to get home safe.
Yeah, it's important. It is definitely important because, like you said, it's the wrong thing said. They can take it and run a mile with it. I had actually gotten pulled over 2 weekends ago in Murfreesboro, and I was turning into a neighborhood, and I saw these blue lights. I'm like, am I getting pulled over? Because I ain't got pulled over in years. And I was like, oh my God. So, and I did have my gun in the car with me. And so she came up and she's flashing the light. Ma'am, do you realize and I'm not familiar with Murfreesboro. Do you realize you ran the light on such and such street way back there? And I said, no, actually. And when I say it was just in me to just be the sweetest, kindest little Black woman I could be, I was like, no, actually I didn't. And I'm not really from here. So I was like, I was Ubering and brought somebody out here and was getting ready to go pick up somebody else, but I'm going back to where I know. And she was like, oh, you was Ubering way out here? I was like, yeah, I picked somebody up and yeah, I can brought them out here. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, it was back on such and such street. And I was like, I have no clue what street that is. No, I don't realize I ran a light. I'm pretty sure that it was probably yellow and might have turned red. I'm really not sure. But no, and then when I say she's flashing my face, she's flashing down here. And I said, ma'am, what do you need from me? Oh, I need your license and registration, your insurance. And I said, okay. She said, do you have a gun? And I was like, no, I don't. I keep it in my door. But I couldn't say yes. I could not say yes because I did not want to get my Black behind out of that car. I didn't want them to question me no more than what they did, right? So when I said no, I was like, Lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Let me take this lady, give this stuff. And so I got the gun out of the door and just kind of slid it under my seat. So if she flashed, like she couldn't see it like in my door. But I was praying to the heavens above, and I was just like, and I keep it in there because I Uber, and I don't Uber late at night, but it's people are crazy, you know, so you just never know. But you know what? I took it out of my car, and I just will have to use my pepper spray, you know, because I just like I don't want to deal with the questionings that's going to come behind me having my gun, because although my thing is expired, but we can carry here, you know what I'm saying? So like, but still it's just so much to it, like, and I just had anxiety, and I'm like, I got to get home to my child, like I don't have time for that, you know what I'm saying? So it is a fear that we have. And I remember, you know, even as late as college, you know, once, and my mom was taking me back to campus, and she got pulled over. Anytime she got pulled over, she just immediately would get smart with them, just immediately get rude with them. And it just would make me so nervous, like so nervous. And then all of this wasn't going on like it is now, right? But I would just be like, Mama, please just be quiet. You know, don't say nothing. But, you know, it's just crazy, because had she had been like that, had things been going on now, I don't like it is now, I don't think that she would have. But she, when I say she has never had a care or a liking for police officers ever, she absolutely has not. And it's just crazy that we have that innate fear, you know, for them. Like it's just weird. It's just weird. But yes, okay. James, go ahead. I think we're on number 5. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I keep muting myself. My bad, y'all. My bad. Because I'm hearing the echo on my end, but it's my fault. So I'll keep it unmuted. Did you ever have the conversation with your sons about going into the stores? Because I know a lot of times my mother had to have that conversation with me, as far as you're not like some of your friends. You can't just pick up anything and then come find me to see if you can get it. Like if you see something you like, you gotta come get me in order for me to walk over there. Because even in the stores at times, it's crazy to say it, but they'll be looking at you while you're in the stores and following you around. So have you all had that conversation with your sons or daughters?
I didn't when they were little, because again, I don't know, it just was a different time. It appears. But as they've gotten older, and because they're by themselves, you know, in a store, if they're little and I'm there, I definitely can protect them. I feel like I can anyways, you know. But now that they go by themselves, I'm always like, which I never let them wear their pants low and all that. So they, you know, we didn't have to worry about any of that. But these hoodies in the middle of summer and this hair everywhere, I'm like, dude, no, get that hoodie off. You know, you got to be careful. And they look at me like I'm crazy sometimes. But I'm like, listen, your goal is to go in there and get what you got to get and get out. You know, you go in there looking like something, and I mean, they're like the most innocent kids, really. Their little faces are still innocent, you know. But, you know, like I've told them to other people, you've come in there to take something of theirs, and it makes absolutely zero sense, but you have to think like that. You know, I mean, and even, you know, just they worry me more now than they ever did when they were little. Whenever it comes to stuff like that, because it doesn't matter where they are. You know, I mean, I can remember Keelan being little in a car seat, and a woman saying, "There's no way she had that black baby." I turned around and said, "Birthed him 3 months ago." Sure did.
Excuse me. Did they say there's no way you had that black baby?
Yeah. What does she mean by that? Like what? Like he was just black or something?
Well, you know, he was always darker.
Right.
Okay, so it was him, and we were in the Walmart in Franklin when it first opened. Bless it. But I never will forget it because we had went to see my dad because he had built that store and opened it up. We, you know, went down there. I took the boys down there to see him. Kobe's running around, you know, Keelan's in his car seat, minding his own business. I don't even know how she seen him. She probably only saw his face because I kept him covered up. And she literally said, how did she, there's no way she had that black baby or birthed that black baby. It was something to that effect because I remember turning around and I remember my dad saying, Stephanie, it's okay. It's okay. No. 3 months ago, I birthed him, actually. I'm like, are you serious right now? And, you know, even then, I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, okay, smaller town, whatever, you know. But now, you know, going into stores, I mean, it's just, it's crazy. And sometimes I don't really think the younger one gets it as much, you know, because I don't know. I think sometimes they still are kind of oblivious to it until it pops back up again. And then it's like, oh, wait a second. Okay, let me rein myself back in. You know, I mean, it's like with anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, dude, you guys have to be aware at all times, no matter what. You know, it sucks, but it is what it is. You know.
Let me ask y'all a question. Do you feel like sometimes as that your sons have more of a target on their backs than maybe your daughter does? I know, Jesse, you have a son and a daughter. Do you feel like your son has more of a target on his back than your daughter?
Yeah, I would definitely say that because, again, when he may not look, I mean, he's sweet and innocent now, just even looking at him. But in 5-10 years from now, how will other people view him? Because he doesn't even look like a mixed kid. Like he looks like a black kid as he is. And yeah, it's just crazy to me that this is the world we live in, and that I'm glad we're having this conversation, but we shouldn't still have to be talking about this hundreds of years later. Like, it's sad.
Do you go ahead, James? What you gonna say?
It's sad that we have to keep having these conversations, but conversations, I guess, is the only way that things are going to change.
That's true.
And voting.
Right. How do you all feel about Black history being taken out of the schools?
I think it's a bunch of BS. Black history is American history, and this country was built off the backs of slaves, and whitewashing it so fragile little white grandchildren don't have to hear about their racist slave-owning grandpa, great-grandpa, great-great-grandpa. But look at what Black people have been going through since they were taken away from their home and brought over here. Like, that is American history. And I think it's page like 349 in Project 2025 is to eliminate all education on race and gender studies. Like, it blows my mind.
Yeah, that's totally crazy. That is totally crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. What are your thoughts about it, Stephanie?
Well, and I think, like she said, you know, it's a part of history, you know, and in order for us to do better, we got to know where we were so we know where to go. And, you know, if we act like it didn't happen, even though we're all very fully aware that it did happen, then we get nowhere. We keep creating the same madness because no one takes ownership of it in a sense. And it's like, okay, let's act like that didn't happen. Let's, you know, this or that, when you're not going to learn. Nobody's going to learn. Or are we going to be able to get better until we truly understand where we did come from and where we are? But I think, you know, taking it out and not talking about it is the worst thing you can do. Right. And it's not like they get a whole plethora of it now in school, right? So the little bit that they are learning, why are you trying to take it away? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I get it. That I agree 100%.
All right. So let's go to another question for you guys that we have. I'll go with number 6. And that question would be, hold on 1 second, let me get up here to it. Sorry. All right, got it. Finally. Number 6, have your boys experienced any racial backlash or moments while in school, K through 12? Have they experienced any racial backlash while they're in school? And let's be honest, we know that kids are not racist. It's taught at home, but have they experienced it?
I think thinking back, like I said again, it was when my oldest two were in high school. Did they even realize that kind of existed in a sense? When Keelan went through his little ordeal with the school,
Mm-hmm.
because before then, again, because we never did discuss that in the house. People were people, and it wasn't until that moment where they like, wait a second, wait, what's going on here? And they started to pinpoint, oh, well, so-and-so was sitting beside me and no one said anything to him, kind of thing. And so I think at that point it kind of came to life. I don't really remember Kobe. He was too quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And he missed a lot of school, so it was hard for him.
Mm-hmm.
Cash, I feel like at one point, crazy enough, and it wasn't necessarily a white person, it was someone else of another nationality telling him something totally different. And I remember him coming home and saying it, and I'm like, that's actually not true. That's not true. Listen, kind of thing. And I'm sure they probably did, and maybe they didn't understand when they were younger, kind of what was what, to the full extent. But like I said, it wasn't till high school. Yeah, Keelan was in high school. Whenever we went through that with the school, was it like really brought to light. And then it was like almost like a light bulb of, oh wait, well, this has happened to me before. But at that time they didn't really realize like what it was, in a sense. But I can't really, other than the instance with Keelan, I don't remember, and Cash on the bus, them really saying anything. Because my kids, like, they literally intertwined with every single person you can think of. I mean, kids that couldn't even speak English, they're best friends, or whatever. So I can't remember, like, when they were younger, anything, and they went to a predominantly white school, when they were in elementary school. I mean, if you were biracial or white, basically, at that school, and it, like, I can't remember anything when they were smaller, just in high school.
What about you, Jesse?
So for my son, he hasn't experienced anything at school, but outside of school, we live in a neighborhood that has a lot of kids in it, and he's been called the N-word several times. And then one kid, and he's 6, and then another kid has said to him, they got in an argument over a game they were playing. He goes, "That's why you're selfish, because you're brown." Like, so outside of school, my daughter has experienced it quite a few times in school, starting in elementary school all the way up to last school year, from teachers and from students. One teacher told her, it was in the 8th grade, during the month of February, that Black History Month should not exist. And
Wait. A teacher told her Black History Month should not exist.
Yeah, and that Black people need to stop griping about stuff that happened 200 years ago. And then she sent my daughter and the 3 other Black children to the counselor's office for the rest of the class period. So needless to say, I took immediate action, and that teacher's not allowed to, she was a sub. She's not allowed to sub in Wilson County anymore. But yeah, she's one of her teachers last year. We're from Michigan, Detroit, and one of her teachers who there's always been, crap going on with that. But you're not going to get all Detroit on me, are you? Like, just, and then like stuff about her hair, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah, my tolerance is like 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, has she experienced issues with Black girls and white girls?
Yeah, so it's her main group of friends. They're all biracial, Black, Ethiopian. Like, she doesn't really have like a close white friend. She did over the years. But girls will say stuff, oh, that's why you have to buy your hair. And like just total ignorant comments that come from these white girls. And I know exactly where they're hearing it from. Right. Yeah.
Do you all recall like when you all first experienced racism or noticed it for yourself? Like, so let me say that. I want to skip some questions. So let me ask this, because this is one of the questions that I definitely want us to talk about. Did you all, when you all got pregnant with your babies, was there any type of worry or fear or thought like judgment or, oh my gosh, or what is my family going to think? Was it any type of uneasiness or uncomfortableness?
No, luckily for me. I mean, my parents have always taught us, like we were never to be mean to anybody. And my mother grew up in a town that probably until the last 10 or 15 years just started having Black people or, refugees come into their city or their county. I mean, I remember my grandmother, my mom's mom, saying whenever I was pregnant with Kobe that she was coming and she didn't care who liked it. And if they said something about it, she didn't ever have to talk to them again.
Right.
So it wasn't, I never had that. I do remember my dad saying to me, I don't care because I'm going to love it regardless. But I just worry about how the world is going to perceive him, and my stepdad was the same way, and he came from a very country town, and, that's my grandson, and I don't care, this or that. And my grandmother, I remember she was probably 60 something, 50 something, shouldn't have been driving, drove all the way up here to get her hands on him because she didn't care what it was. She just wanted to get him, kind of thing. So thankfully enough, I didn't have that worry or that fear. It was more of my parents, like, worry for the kids, and I remember thinking, oh, you're crazy. Like, okay, I get it. I understand, I respect it, but no way. Now I'm like, they were right. Like, they were right.
Right.
It's sad because I literally thought, Kobe will be 24 in a couple of weeks. I literally thought 24 years ago to now would look different. It doesn't. Now I worry about my grandbabies.
Right. For sure. And a different type of worry almost.
In a different type of way. Because I thought I would do something to the world for those boys. I can't imagine.
Right. For sure. What about you, Jessie?
Yeah, so when I got pregnant with my daughter, I had family members decide not to speak to me anymore, and still haven't talked to them.
And who was this?
Um,
What did you say? Did you say a certain side of the family?
family member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Family member. Yeah. At the time, my mom had passed, so I didn't fear her judgment, although my mom would have, those would have been her babies. My dad was surprisingly very so accepting of it. Me and my daughter's father actually moved up to Detroit and lived with him for a few months. So, with my son, neither of my parents were alive to meet him, but at that point, I really didn't care what anyone said or thought in my family anymore. But, I did think, what they're going to have to face in a world where such hatred and discrimination still exists.
James, go ahead.
Let me ask a question for you all. Do you think, if you knew what you knew now, would you still choose to bring children into the world with society being the way that it is right now?
I can say children, yes. Their fathers, no. If I could have the same kids from Amazon Prime, I would be good.
Yeah, I definitely would too. Regardless, to how crazy the world can be, we've always tried to tell the boys, you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want, regardless of the world.
Right.
But, yeah, definitely. Because I do feel like, anybody can change the world. It's just going to take whoever it is, to be able to do it and get it through. So, yeah, definitely would. As much craziness as they've caused me, I definitely would do it again.
Right. So do you are you all familiar with the word white fragility?
I am, yes.
Okay. So it's kind of like the discomfort, defensiveness on the part of a white person when confronted by information about racial inequality and injustice. It's almost like a white person being in denial that there's prejudices going around in the world. Okay. Yeah. So do you all think that you ever experienced white fragility before being a mom to Black children? Do you feel like it mattered then? Does it matter more now?
Are you saying, does it matter more like speaking about it?
Yeah. So when I say, did you ever experience it? Like, do you feel like at any point were you ever in denial about racism being still, or comfortable with people spoke about prejudices or, did you ever find discomfort in the conversation of there being prejudices in the world, like in denial about it or getting defensive about it when people talk about it?
I haven't. I actually encourage those conversations, but I have been told by multiple family members, well, really one specifically, that I'm anti-white and I don't like white people because I speak up about racial inequalities, systematic racism, like all of that. So I've definitely experienced it by other white people. But me personally, I always love a educated debate about whether racism exists or doesn't, because it does.
Amen.
Very true. And I think the same for me. I've always, like I said, my parents taught us, we love everyone, but the reality is, and of course I was that kid, every time somebody would say this didn't happen, I swore it did, and had a big old debate about it. It kind of worked the same. And even before I had kids, I was always the devil's advocate no matter what. Even though I don't remember like growing up, you know, even in middle school or high school, because I feel like we were still diverse, you know, at that point. And again, I just don't feel like it was the way it is now, even when we were in high school. You know, I mean, yes, you know, you had these people and you had these people, and they might, you know, do their thing or whatever. But I always was like, right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, now I will say, do I feel like I notice it more that I have black boys? Yes. Yes. And I will get in a great debate about it because, you know, you can say what you want and do what you want, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, and it exists, you know, and like I told some of my friends, and my friends are awesome. Like, you know, they listen and they'll sometimes be like, okay, I understand your point versus, you know, somebody on TV who just keeps trying to tell us, right? Which is nice. But yeah, and I'm like you know, let's have a good debate. I'm okay with where you stand, but I'm gonna need you to listen to what I'm saying too, you know, so that we both can understand and we can agree to disagree, but facts are facts.
Yeah, I would agree with that. This has been a great discussion tonight, for real. I have enjoyed it to the utmost because I feel like discussions like this definitely need to be had, and it's it's important that we have conversations like this in our communities because that's the only way we're going to get better.
Yeah.
And we are going on break the month of August, so this will be the last show for Tevis for this month. So we're going to go on break. Next week we will have Sarah back on, and we will be interviewing Mr. Tevin Studdick, an author. We're excited about that. And tune in to A Word from the Web, which is every Monday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern. And just continue to rock with us. And we appreciate you all for all the love and all the support that y'all have given us. And we promise you next season we're coming back even stronger. We promise y'all that. Tevis, I'm going to let you speak, and then we're going to give our guests a chance to tell a little bit about what they're trying to make.
Okay. So yes, of course, ladies, I definitely appreciate you guys being on here and open to the questions. I just think it's important that you know, everybody's voices are heard, and I think it's also important for people to realize just because you're not the same color as your child, it doesn't mean that you're not going to love and fight hard for them, or you know, their skin isn't the same color as yours. You know, because we are living in a world now where we are a melting pot, and there's white families adopting black children, there's black families adopting white children. There's, you know, it's just what it is, because at the end of the day, people want to love and protect children, right? And at the end of the day, we want all of our children, no matter the color of their skin, to feel loved and protected and safe in this world. So I thank you guys for being on here and sharing. I don't have a lot to say except that if you all know any early child care programs that need coaching and consulting, please have them to call me. If you know any mamas that are expecting, have them to reach out as well. I was able to experience my first baby on July 10th being born as a doula, and it was amazing. So I'm super excited to continue that journey. And yeah, so if y'all know anybody, send them my way. Other than that, always lead with grace and love. And James, you can have it. Or girls, ladies, you all can
girls, we'll let y'all
want to close out, say anything, any advice that you all would want to give any other mothers that are in your shoes, or whatever you want to say.
Whoever wants to go first.
I was just going to say, you know, thanks for having us, and definitely get out and vote. Project 2025 is real. We can't let that happen. Get out and vote.
For sure. For sure.
Yes, of course. Thanks for inviting me, Tevis. And I think the main thing is just love your babies through it, no matter what, because life is hard no matter what and who you are, but it just adds extra, when you look a little different. Just love everybody. And
Right.
let's quit picking at everybody.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
All right. We will see y'all next week, and God bless. Peace.
Bye.